Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you're watching the markets review of the day. During this program, we are going to check the market situation and check the news background as well. We are going to start from the indexes of the stock market and we're going to continue with the Forex pairs and of course going to see what is going on with the cryptocurrency pairs which we have on our platform of MetaTrader 4 and 5. As you know, the situation on the markets kind of changed from previous week, and it was related to the fall of the main United States stock market indexes, S&P 500 and Dow Jones, because of the exceptions of the market about that we are going to have a really tightened monetary policy. It means that Federal Reserve System is going to tighten the monetary policy, and this factor could really make stock market to kind of fall. And the situation which we had was exactly as the same. Actually, we are having the situation about some days, and it's not kind of changing. But the main news of today, it is kind of related a little bit to the commodity market, about the prices of the oil of the WTI index, which could rise to $100. That's actually what predicts Goldman Sachs, and I've actually heard different kind of predictions about different sectors of market from the beginning of this week from the Goldman Sachs, and one of them was about oil and was about WTI prices, which could rise to $100 in 2022, about the maybe autumn of 2022. They're going to be they're going to rise to $100. So as you know, the situation on the oil market, on the commodity markets, especially for oil, previously was really good, and that's a rise which we observed from past months, and it was related to energy crisis. It was related to the OPEC policy, which is not going to tighten the policy, and despite they are not going to tighten the policy, they were all so sure, the OPEC members, that prices of black gold is going to rise, and this is a situation which we are now observing, the breakthrough of the maximums, and here we have some chance of the further rising as well. As you see on the daily chart, we opened higher than, we opened actually under the closure of previous candle, but there is some chances that we could continue this upward movement. It would be more fair and it would be more logical to say that maybe in the near future there would be some kind of correctional movements as well. So $82, $80 are the main supports which we could break and we could retest in the near future. So for midterm traders, for long-term traders, maybe you have to pay attention that this situation could be a little bit different in the near future. So we could have some correctional movements as well. But $100 is the prediction of Goldman Sachs for 2022, for the middle of 2022. So we have to pay attention that before it happens, we could have some correctional movement as well. And on the daily chart of oil, as we see, prices are kind of getting near to the trend line, which is about 85, 84, 80. And mostly after the test of these levels, maybe in the daily chart, maybe in the daily scale, we could get some reversals. But until we get above 85, 80, 86, we could actually continue the downward movement. That's for day traders. And let's see what is going on with today's economic calendar. We had some releases from Great Britain at 7 o'clock by Greenwich time, which were positive. And as you know, Great Britain, the inflation in Great Britain is getting higher and higher, which is a good signal for the central bank of England to hike the rates, to tighten the monetary policy in the near future. But is it really going to do it? We don't know. We have to wait for the releases. Today at 2 o'clock 15 minutes by GMT time, we have the Bank of England Governor Bailey speaks, which speak actually could have their own impact on the prices of the pound of Britain. So if the speech is going to be dovish, or if they say that they are not going to hike the interest rate, pound won't get any support. But in the case of sudden statements about hiking the interest rate, pound could really rise. But mostly all of this could really be mostly related to the movements which make the dollar, which make the United States dollar. And as we see dollars continuing the upward movement from the middle of this month, and we're kind of getting to some support, some main supports here, some main resistance here, which could not give the price to maybe go higher. So about dollar, maybe we could get some downward movement and the continuation of downward movement because of this resistance which we have here, and they're kind of mirror resistance, and they've already retested 96, 95, 80, and because of this, until we get above these levels, we could retest them impulsively, but it would be the sign of next reversal. So about euro, about pound, about Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar, maybe we could be more sure about their continuation of their rising in the future than for United States dollars. Next comes up actually is at 30 o'clock 30 from United States and from Canada, the building permits, which are not rising, then that's not a really good signal. And for Canadian dollar, CPI index prognosis about which we actually do not have. So mostly about the Canadian dollar, we have to pay attention how oil is going to rise or fall. So if oil is rising, the Canadian dollar could really rise as well. If oil is falling, the Canadian dollar could fall as well. So mostly about Canadian dollar, we can actually get the main signal from the oil market. And as we saw, oil market's kind of inside of some correctional movement, which could continue in the midterm. But if something like that happened, United States dollar is not going to fall. So guys, let's start our technical analysis of the indexes. As I said, indexes of S&P 500 and Dow Jones are under really huge pressure. And as we observed from previous time, we observed a divergence, and here was the signal of this downward movement which happened. So we had the signal, and we said about this signal from previous time. And about Dow Jones, for our chart, we had this signal as well here, the divergence. And the thing that we are observing now is the continuation of downward movement. Would they continue this movement? Let's see. Let's check on the daily chart of Dow Jones. Do we have any levels? Do we have any main levels or target levels? We have some mirror level, about $35,000 for Dow Jones, and which could get retested, and from which we could get a little correction. And S&P 500, which is really near to the main support of 4,500, which is a really important level. So let's not be so pessimistic because markets, as always, mainly they continue their movement inside the corridors. And because of this factor, maybe we can say that after the retest of these main supports, the correctional movement appearance is more logical. So we could really get reversed from this level in the future. And it would depend on the market how impulsively we are going to retest these levels. So this kind of reversal movement in the near future would mean that dollar prices are going to fall anyway. But let's wait for this movement. For near future, for near stays, the potential of downward movement of S&P 500 and Dow Jones, the main indexes of the United States stock market, are more actually likely than the reversal. So we have to wait for this reversal. And if this reversal is not so powerful, this would mean that the continuance of downward movement is more possible, or even we could get pressured, we could get squeezed to the local supports. And this would be a really good signal for USD dollar, which could continue the upward movement. What is going on with the euro, pound, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar due to the 15-minute charts and 4-day traders? As we see, simultaneously by the rising of dollar, all of these pairs are falling. And the continuous of downward movement here due to the charts are as well possible. But we have to actually pay attention that do we have any main supports or resistance near to the price action? So we have already break through the 1.14, which was a psychological level. And previously, we retested another psychological level of 1.13. And this level could get retested again. So here we have to pay attention that the potential of downward movement still remain on the markets. And this could be impulsive movement after which we could get reversed. But before this reversal, we actually have the potential of the continuation of downward movement, mainly. Pound as well is showing us that the prices are getting weaker and weaker, and this downward movement could continue. So for day traders of pound, maybe it would be better to realize the sell limit positions with the stop about 1.3620, 1.3640. Above these levels, the tendency would change. The tendency would be pro-buying, pro-bullish. But under this level, under this range, the main tendency would be downward. So here as well, we have the continuation of downward movement. Accumulation of the price action on the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar charts are so high. And can we say that they are reversing? They are reversing from the bottom of the market. Unfortunately, because of this impulsiveness of the movement, and because of we are actually stuck under the psychological level of 0.72, we cannot say that we are rising. We could rise, and it could be a really impulsive movement, but the continuation of downward movement here is more likely. And for New Zealand dollar as well, we could have some impulsive upward movements, but the main tendency is downward, and we have to pay attention that this range is continuing to exist, this range which we draw from the previous analysis. What is going on with the commodity prices? We actually check the oil prices, and here comes the gold. What is going on with the gold due to the 4-hour chart, due to the long-term chart or mid-term chart? The main thing that we have is some consolidational movement, is some strengthening above 1,800. But here you actually need to pay attention that in the main long-term perspective, the continuation of upward movement of gold prices are more likely. So the impulsive retest of 1810, 1800, in the case of its appearance, in the case of its fulfillment, we could get some reversal. But as we see here and now, we've already retested the support of 1810, and we get some low amplitude. We have some accumulation of the energy here. So could we have another downward impulse? If we are going to have it, and if it ends by one candle breakthrough of 1810, this would mean that the continuous of strengthening would be more likely. But this squeezing mainly could mean that just get ready for some downward impulse. And due to the dollars rising, which is continuing actually, here for gold, we can actually say that some potential of downward movement for gold still remain on the markets. But due to the 4-hour chart, due to the daily charts, here we have to pay attention that after this downward impulses, we are waiting for some strengthening again. As here, we had some downward impulses and next strengthening. And this all happens inside a corridor. And about silver, a really, really powerful upward impulse, which we can actually observe on the silver chart. And 2380, 24 are the next targets, but I don't think that prices are going to rise to 24. We could get some reversal in the near future, and you have to really pay attention on the divergence. If we have some divergence, which could really happen here because of the position of RSI oscillator and the price action, and the maximums of the price action. Due to these factors, we could really get some divergence in the near future, but we have to pay attention until we get under 2340, 2320. The movement could be upward. The tendency could be upward. The trend would be pro-bullish. So we don't need any price pressure or any price squeezing to this support. And this support is the main support, after the retest of which we could continue the upward movement. But mainly at first, and due to the picture that we have now, we need to wait for prices to make some downward correctional movements. United States dollar to Swiss franc and United States dollar pair to Japanese yen, which are risk assets as well as gold and as silver. They are the risk assets as well. So both of them are showing us that due to daily chart, due to 4-hour chart, they are kind of rising, and JPY unfortunately could really remain weak because of the higher inflation in Japan. And as you know, the Bank of Japan is not going to hike the interest rates, and it's as always as speculative as it was, because the weaker yen could really help the export prices, which is the main component of the GDP, of the gross domestic product index, of the main stimulator of the gross domestic products index of the Japan. And in the case of the weaker yen price and the lower yen price, Japanese yen price, the export prices would be more low, and this factor could help the economy to get the situation with the economy to get better, and it could actually stimulate the economy. So they are not going to tighten the monetary policy, as we know, and as the bank said yesterday, I think, that they got a higher inflation, but they are not going to hike the interest rates. So here for United States dollar to Japanese yen pair, we can actually be more sure that prices are going to continue the upward movement, because the yen is going to get lower. So here the main supports should be the 114.20, 113.80, or 114 as a psychological level, after the retest of which the continuation of upward movement is more likely. So let's say after the retest of 114.20, 114, the tendency would be upward, and this reversal could happen in the near future. And the United dollar to Swiss franc is showing us that, unfortunately, volatility is getting shrink. And during an upward channel, during an upward movement, especially if it's on the 4-hour chart, which is a midterm chart, it could really signal a reversal. Do we have any signs of divergence? Unfortunately, we don't have. So let's say 0.9140, 0.9120 would be the best supports, after the test of which we could get more sure about the continuation of upward movement. Or we could actually just choose this range for the risk of the bullish or long positions. And we are gonna finish today's program by the analysis of Bitcoin and main cryptocurrencies as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's check both of these guys on the 4-hour chart. And as you see, we had some correctional movement, but as we already said to you from previous times, that mainly due to the news background, the continuation of the price weakening of Ethereum and Bitcoin is more likely than anything else. Here we have some shrinking of volatility during downward movement. This could be a really good signal of next reversal upward for Ethereum. But in long term, we have to pay attention that continuance of downward movement is more likely. $30,000 for Bitcoin is a level about which JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs predicted from previous months. I think about a month ago or 2 months ago, one of these banks told us that the real price of Bitcoin is about $30,000. It's not 40,000, it's not 50,000, it's 30,000. So we have to actually wait for prices to retest this level, and then maybe we could get into the market, into the bullish market, into the better bullish market. So for now, for today, as we see on the charts, situation is not really great. We could get some convergence here and some upward impulses, but all of them would be speculative. All of them would be really not so reliable. So pay attention on this factor as well. Don't forget that on our platform of Gerchik Co, we have new currency pairs, cryptocurrency pairs of Bitcoin Cash, Dogecoin, Chainlink, Polkadot, Litecoin, Ripple, EOS, Cardano, and Stellar, which we added just from previous month, and you can use them. And don't forget about our instruments which we have on the platform, by the help of which we could make more profitable trading. The instruments like Risk Manager and the Algo Trader, which helps you to trade better. And about all of these things you can actually read on our main official site. So don't forget to check the official site. Don't forget to check the main official site of Gerchik Co. And don't forget to subscribe on the channel and ring the bell so you would know what kind of programs are coming next, so you won't miss them. Till next time, guys, have good tradings. Bye bye.